Hey guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be doing some f6f-3 hellcat gameplay in historic Midway. It's a very good plane, but it almost seems like the Wildcat can climb better. Well, enough of the talking, let's get into battle. So, there's three rooms, but there's one ally in each room except for one which was full. So I made my own room. I could join somebody else's room, but Okay, so the f6f Hellcat has the same engine as the P-47, but not as much horsepower. But you gotta remember that this aircraft was a Navy aircraft, and that in real life, in World War II, this thing could climb with the Zero no problem. This thing could turn with the Zero no problem. This thing was the Zero's prey. The Zero was no longer a big threat when they had the Hellcat. Well, still, Hellcats were getting shot down and everything, but the Hellcat has the best kill ratio of World War II any other plane has had. But this is the thing, in Wings of Duty, just f6f-3 Hellcat beauty is not like in World War II. It cannot climb with the Zero. It cannot turn with the Zero. It could outdive the Zero, but at the same time, it can't. Climbing away from a Zero would be suicide. So it would be climbing after a Zero. Okay, if you have the f6f-5, maybe you have a better chance, but you wouldn't have a better chance turn fighting. The f6f Hellcat was a boom and zoom. This thing can turn with the Zero for just a little bit, but in the game you can't even turn with it at all, unless you're using the Wildcat, which is a completely different aircraft. Same company, but different. Although this thing had amazing horsepower, and of course didn't have the maneuverability like the Zero, could turn with it for a little bit before stalling. But in the game, you can't even do that. Of course, the armament is realistic. This thing is not, the plane is not realistic. Let's see how I climb. It can climb really good, it really can. It could probably climb with the Zero, but the Zero wouldn't be stalled. Once you get to the top chasing an A6M50 like this, you will stall before he does. And because he's very maneuverable and light, he's going to be able to turn around and get you. Now, if you're going fast, you can probably catch the Zero like how I am here, but it depends on if he's got a lot of speed as well. This thing has amazing firepower, just amazing firepower. And I highly recommend buying this over the Spitfire. Mark 1, of course. Well, scratch that. I'd recommend this so much better than the Hurricane Mark 2 and the BF-109. Just because this thing has so much horsepower, it is almost OP. Look how fast I'm going. It is amazing. Even though this plane isn't like it was in World War II in real life, it is still an amazing aircraft. The firepower on this thing is just amazing, and the ammo will give you a lot of time to shred through aircrafts. And this thing will definitely be a G4M Betty killer when the G4M Betty gets out and added to the game. Just the question is, will the f6f Hellcat ever be improved so it can be like the Zero? The answer is no. It will never be upgraded or either improved. Maybe in the climb rate, but the climb rate for me is fine unless you're going 200 something miles per hour. You can still climb, but the Zero's probably gonna out-climb you. The other thing is, just playing is so amazing. It really is. But the thing is, when you're turn fighting, you lose a lot of speed and power. So it would be better off not turn fighting with the Zero. Turn fight with him a little bit, but you can't even do one turn with him, or you're gonna probably be dead by the time he turns around. So just thing is more of a B and Z than it is a turn fighting. Although in World War II they were known for being the Zero killer and good in maneuverability. Well, not in just game. Although, as you can see here, I do not have my ailerons. I'm using my rudder to turn. Still, it is so strong, like it was in World War II. But like in game, not all aircraft are strong like in World War II. But just here's the best aircraft with armor, if I do might say so. But this is the other thing. The f6f Hellcat will never, and I mean never, be improved. Although I have been hearing rumors that the A6M30 and A6M... Actually, all I know is that the A6M30 is going to be improved. So it doesn't... so it's not that OP. But that was a while ago, and I still have not seen any improvements whatsoever. Even though the f6f Hellcat cannot turn with the Zero and cannot climb as good as the 109s, it can climb with the 109s very easily. Until you level out with the 109 is gonna get away. But other than that, it's just a fun plane to fly. You gotta admit that flying is more fun, but at the same time not as fun as shooting down aircraft. But at the same time, what the heck. Now, of course, the Zero is probably going to be better than the Hellcat in many ways. But one thing the Hellcat has an advantage is its 650 caliber machine guns and its armor. The A6M20 and A6M3 suck in armament. Heck, all Japanese planes do. Except for maybe the Heian, but we'll get that in another episode. When they made the f6f Hellcat, it was supposed to be a bigger, much better improvement of the Wildcat. And it really was. But in the game, for me, it almost seems like the f4f Wildcat has the same speed as the Hellcat. Maybe I'm wrong, but for me, that's how it feels. And if you're thinking maybe I'm wrong, then maybe I am, but this is just what I think. Now, what the advantages? This thing can outdive a Zero. But it depends on how high you are, because it depends on how high you are. It always does. It depends on what parts are on your aircraft. But one of the things I want to talk about right now is its maneuverability and its climbing. You do not want to try to outclimb a Zero. Trust me, I've tried. It has never worked with me. It has never. Although a Zero did ignore me when I was climbing away from him, he could have killed me, yet he didn't. He saw a easier kill, even though I was a dead duck. I did lose both my ailerons and my elevator, but I still had my rudder and my flaps. Now, this thing, do not try turn fighting with it. F6F5, you would have a way better chance of turn fighting with a Zero in it. The f6f-3 is more of a BNZ and a ground attacker. I gotta say, the best ground attack aircraft has to be the P-47D and B. But you gotta remember that those aircrafts are not Navy aircraft. And the f6f-3 and 5 have very good armament and bomb loads. They have torpedoes, they have bombs and rockets. So, yeah, the P-47D has bombs and rockets, but the one thing that it doesn't have is torpedoes. Of course, the P-47 was tested on board the Hawaii class, I think, carrier, and they put it on the carrier and they actually flew the things off the carrier, testing it. Although, sadly, it was never a Navy plane, it probably would have been a Navy plane. And somebody joined a guest. That's kind of happy. But, I mean, other than that, the Hellcat is an amazing aircraft. It really is. The only problem is that you're not really gonna be able to outturn a Zero or either outclimb. Sure, you'll be able to outdive, maybe outrun a Zero. But for me, it's very doubtful you're gonna be able to outclimb an A6M3 and outturn an A6M2 or 3. And it's probably gonna be impossible to try to outrun the A6M3. Although you'd probably have a very good chance of outrunning the A6M2. For all I know, the A6M2 is very slow, but it makes up for it for being very light and have good armament. Although this is the other part where I come in. Wings of Duty should really make their planes realistic. And I don't mean like realistic settings and everything. I mean, the armor should be realistic. Its speed should be realistic. Its climb should be realistic. It should be realistic. Everything should. But hey, it's the best game out there, so at least we appreciate that. My next episode will be talking about the P-47D. Well, actually, scratch that. We're going to be talking about the B-25. After the B-25, we're going to be talking about the BF-109. And after the BF-109, Spitfire, and then P-47D. But this is the one thing you always have to remember. The pilots who flew this thing in World War II. The men who died in this thing. And the men who fought in this thing. And the men who literally killed in this thing. Just playing in the game is not even close to being like it was in real life. But hey, it's a Hellcat. And I mean, who doesn't like the Hellcat? If you don't like the Hellcat, you're a racist. And I don't mean like a racist, more like a plain racist. The only reason why you wouldn't like this plane is because of its looks. Which I mean, it looks like a mean jerk. I mean, why shouldn't it look like a mean jerk? But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe and smash that like button.